There's a lot of people use like Buffer and Hootsuite and Meet Edgar and all this stuff to funnel things into LinkedIn. Is that a good way to do it, or are you better to do it natively?
The ones that use Buffer and Hootsuite and so forth reckon that it's great. But Hootsuite's gotten better, but a lot of the time when you see a Hootsuite post, because you can just see it, it's got the hourly, URL and all that sort of thing. What happens invariably is that it doesn't load properly. So it's missing the photo, it's missing some of the content. The thing about all the platforms is when, LinkedIn and Facebook, for example, started a year from each other. And in the beginning, I don't know if they were extremely well defined from each other, but they are now. And so one piece of content that goes to LinkedIn is not the same audience that goes to Facebook, and is not the same audience that goes to Twitter. So when you try and use these sort of, what are they? In my opinion, they're kind of corner cutting devices and softwares. The audience isn't the same in all of the platforms. It doesn't load well all the time in all of the platforms. You've got to get the characters out in 140 first characters on Twitter, but yet LinkedIn, you've got 1,300. So, it's really not comparing apples with apples. The other thing is what people don't take into account is there is an algorithm in LinkedIn that is taking into account the amount of engagement you do versus posting. So when you're not logging in because you've signed into Buffer with your login details, so you're only going into Buffer, you don't have the opportunity to actually go into LinkedIn and engage with your network. So you're not, and then, are you people commenting and you're not even going back in and answering the questions or whatever? So some people say it's a 5-to-1 ratio. Other people say it's a 20-to-1. So, nobody knows the exact ratio. Yeah. Otherwise, some people would be sitting, social media managers would sit there and go, okay, I've done my 20 for the day. And I've said, great post 20 times now. So I'm good, Yeah. So they don't release the exact number. But if you have, let's say it's 20, if you've engaged with 20 different people through your home feed, and then it's time for you to post, at 10 a.m. or something, when you do, LinkedIn favors that because you've been so giving to your community. So when you're posting from Buffer or Hootsuite, you don't do that. And the classic telltale for me, which is another thing I do with whether I'm going to take a connection or not, is that I check their post history versus their activity history. And if the post history is a mirror of the activity history, I know this person won't engage with me.
Yeah.
They're not even logged in probably.
Yeah.
So what they're doing, if let's just say they're not using it, they come in, they post, they rack off again. They're not engaged. So why would I want them as a connection?
Yeah.
So it's a really big telltale sign of the the giving nature of that person and how well they actually engage and what they think about their connections.